I've been playing video games
You boys want to watch this?
ever since I was 3 years old, when my parents substituted a Game Boy Color and Pokemon Blue in place of a babysitter. As I grew up, there was so much to love about gaming. I got to play and experience countless amazing titles, and witness the industry as it grew and evolved. After playing something like Oblivion or Bioshock, Halo 3, I would just kinda sit there and wonder, what's next? However, in the last 9 or so years, it feels like in many ways, the quality of video games, and especially AAA titles, has declined. The industry is always creating something new, innovative, and epic. Gaming as a medium has evolved very quickly in the 35 or so years it's been around, and while there are so many great aspects to love about this hobby, just consider this a more pessimistic take on the state of gaming. So what is it that has caused the decline of gaming? No, it's not these old Flash cartoons, but they did inspire the name. It's the same thing that ruins so much of this beautiful world of ours.
Okay, this may sound boomer of me. This may sound boomer of me when I say this, okay? But the feeling of going to the store and getting a video game and waiting in line and going to GameStop was a journey on itself. And you cannot deny it. It was a fucking journey. And I remember the feeling of going to GameStop and it feeling so good when you finally get that game. To going into Toys R Us or GameStop was one of the best feelings of your entire life. I don't care if it's not a boomer take. You just didn't experience how good it was. And it's not nostalgia. I remember feeling at that time how good it feels to walk into those stores. It felt magical walking into those stores. Like, it felt good. Now I walk in those stores and it's just a bunch of plushies and a fucking lady with blue hair screaming at me, asking me if I want to buy two, get one free. It felt good. Blockbuster. You're telling me Blockbuster was all nostalgia? No, it just felt good to go get a game. It was a journey in itself to go get that game. You know? Going to Toys R Us, riding a bicycle around while you're holding your brand new Gears of War 2. It was an experience. You know, while your mom's yelling at you and you throw gum at her and she gets mad at you so you don't get Gears of War 2 and you have to result to getting Bloons Tower Defense that just came out on the GameCube. All you did was go to a fucking store. All you do is sit in my chat and complain all day, alright? Look. You know what? Maybe I'm just a fat fuck boomer. One in chat if you agree. Why do you hate XQC? I fucking hate his guts. What kind of question is that? Why do I hate XQC? Everyone knows why I hate XQC. It's obvious. Duh. The hell? He's annoying. Yeah, I hate XQC. Everyone knows I do. We're talking about gaming and then XQC comes in. Yes, he has more viewers than you. Yeah, that's it.
Remember when you pre-ordered games so they saved it for you in store?
Nowadays, when you pre-order games, right? When you pre-order games nowadays, you don't hate XQC? Duh, I don't hate for XQC. I do wish XQC would go back to his fucking country, honestly. I do. Like, if he doesn't like it here, he should just go back to his fucking country. But I like XQC as a person. I hate his chat. I don't care. XQC's fine with me. Look, what was I talking about? Pre-ordering games nowadays is fucking stupid. Would you guys agree? If you pre-order games, I used to pre-order games and it wasn't I don't think it was that bad back then because the games were finished, right? That is one of my biggest reasons why I would claim that the gaming industry has gone downhill. And you can't say this is a boomer take. Games just aren't finished anymore. They don't need to be completed for them to say that they're going to put a price tag on it and sell it to you, just like Atlas. Like, it doesn't need to be done. Back then, that's it. The game was done. Nintendo, GameCube, and the Wii, the games were fucking done. So you can't say it's a boomer take. It's just factual. Games today aren't complete. So when you play them, you get bored of them immediately. And when you get bored of them immediately, you want to you throw it away, and then they finally update it 6 months later, and they already multimillionaires and they're living in the Bahamas. You know? You're such a whiny little bitch. I'm 5'8.5". How am I a little whiny little bitch? What the fuck?
Insatiable greed.
I activate Pot of Greed.
The feeling of getting a game you wanted for Christmas that you wanted all year was one of the best feelings ever too. There's nothing ever really satisfying about getting a new game for Christmas anymore, in my opinion.
Yes, dude. Yo, Video Game Donkey. How do you have that name?
Fuck, I forgot to turn off auto-renew.
The feeling of waiting for a game, like you circle it in your Kmart like thing. Like when you circled it, it just felt so good when you finally got that game. It doesn't feel good anymore because you just download the game. It's over. You download it. It's not the same thing. Yes, it's the real Video Game Donkey, chat. Him and I are doing a collab soon. It's not a big deal. Chill out. We met at like PAX East and we've been chilling ever since. All right, let's watch the video.
Implement microtransactions into Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Just to clarify, these are my opinions, based on the facts that I've researched and observed. If I get something wrong, please feel free to let me know, which I'm sure you all will.
Wrong.
For every negative thing that has happened to video games, you could argue an equally positive benefit has occurred, and that's a fair point. Greed is the driving force of this decline. But it gets tricky, because greed, in this case, takes on several forms. No, it's not an overweight Italian man with a ridiculous mustache. It's something both subtle and straightforward. Let's not waste any more time on a pleasant intro. Let's jump straight into this.
Get it? He was making a Jump King reference. That was good.
Perceiving the decline. Is it in our heads? It's challenging and overwhelming to tackle the core issues that plague a multi-billion-dollar industry. With so many different companies, developers, publishers, programmers spread all over the world, is it possible to categorize and identify this decline? Yes! All we need to do is follow the money. So let me just list some things you probably noticed and we'll elaborate on them down the line. 1. An increase in buggy, glitchy games. Big budget releases often have a botched launch and are forced to rely on updates to fix their issues. Number 2. An overabundance of remakes, remasters, and sequels.
Yes!
Number 3. The corporatization of gaming. The conduct of major companies, publishers, and developers. And of course, number 4. The obvious influx of RNG loot boxes being forced into every genre of game, and increasingly aggressive monetization schemes. It could be that our own minds play a factor in this as well. Possibly we see the game industry as being worse because we had it so good in the past. Is all the disappointment we have caused simply by us growing older and more jaded? It's entirely possible the negativity we associate with modern gaming is outweighing the more positive innovations
that's not it. That's not
Games
it.
look better, the stories more epic, characters are represented so realistically, animation vastly improved. My point is, try not to become too overwhelmed with nostalgia for the glory days. And remember that your perception plays a huge part in this decline. What do and don't you have a problem with? That's for you to figure out. But now that we got a solid base for this topic, let's dive deep into the decline of gaming.
Here we go.
Complacency. Pleased, especially with oneself or one's merits, advantages, situation, often without awareness of some potential danger or defect, self-satisfied. Complacency is probably the biggest deterrent to innovation and quality game design. The perfect example is Valve.
Oh shit.
Once known for their unconventional methods of game design and their repertoire of critically acclaimed releases, so many instant classics that to this day are viewed as some of the greatest games of all time. But what about since then?
Looks like there's been a change of plans.
Well, Valve has not made a new game since Portal 2, 8 years ago, and the last time they even launched a new IP was Left 4 Dead. That was 11 years ago. But let's take a quick look at the games they've launched since then. CSGO, a remake of Counter-Strike Source, which was a remake of the original Counter-Strike. Dota 2, a remake of the Dota mod for Warcraft 3. Counter-Strike Online 2, Koreans only. Counter-Strike Nexon Zombies, free-to-play zombie shooter, no thanks. Left 4 Dead Survivors, Japanese only. The Lab, a series of 8 VR minigames that was more or less just an experiment. Dota Underlords, a mobile version of Dota Auto Chess. Do I need to elaborate? This is the same company that made Half-Life 2, and yet Valve is just content with developing these unremarkable titles? You can really sum up the disappointment gamers have had with this company in the Artifact reveal. Everyone was so hyped to see what Valve was working on. It had been so many years since they came out with a new kick-ass game, and when they revealed it, everyone lost all interest.
Ark, baby!
Bruh. A Dota 2 card game. Now the question is, why did Valve stop making actual games? What happened to their ambition? Well, as of March 2015, Valve makes $18 million per month off Dota 2 alone. Valve is also, by ratio, one of the most profitable companies with the fewest employees in America.
360, that's it?
Roughly $300,000 per employee. They make 30% of every sale off Steam. They're just rolling in the moolah right now. The chimichangas, the gold bars. If you're making tons of money selling the same thing for 7 years and you're a businessman, well, why would you stop? Why would you take the risk and time to develop and sell a brand new product when you can simply maintain your current products and watch the profits get dumped straight into your bank account?
That's pretty much my stream.
Hey Bethesda, how's it going, buddy? Didn't see you there. You still selling Skyrim? There's no question that Valve fans will eat up whatever new game they put out, provided it's the type of game people want. As a consumer, you'd buy Portal 3, you'd buy Left 4 Dead 3, and you'd most certainly buy Half-Life 3. Long awaited.
I thought that was Destiny.
By Half-Life 3. Long awaited and pretty much dead, Half-Life 3 is a perfect example of complacency.
I got nothing to say about Half-Life.
Despite the critical acclaim and unrelenting hype for this title, you'd think Half-Life 3 would be at the top of Valve's priority list. But it never was. Instead, we're getting a VR game. And while it's cool they're finally making another Half-Life, all I can think is, what about the games that people want? You see, Valve and even some other companies need to take lessons from Bono. You know, don't ever stop trying to be in the limelight, keep pushing forward to infinity and beyond. Bethesda and Rockstar are another two clear-cut examples of how complacency has creeped into the video game industry. The undisputed masters of reselling the same product in as many forms possible. After Grand Theft Auto 5, Rockstar basically did nothing except update the game and port their old games to different platforms. Until 5 years later, they released Red Dead Redemption 2. Now again, I'm not saying these are bad games, but
How was Red Dead Redemption 2, chat? Was it good? Amazing.
To look back in the 5.
So then, I mean, to me, that's not that bad, right? Like, if they're gonna take their time and make a really good game, I have no problems with that whatsoever. Absolute dog shit trash. Yes, that you're one of those kind of guys that says you probably said Jump King is a bad game, man. Or Smite.
Years from 2001 to 2006, they were putting out hot shit like GTA 3, Vice City, Midnight Club 2, Manhunt, Red Dead Revolver, The Warriors, and Bully. Rockstar used to experiment and try new things, developing several IPs at a time and building a library of games to their name. But now they've gotten complacent. Bethesda, meanwhile, had a 5-year wait between Oblivion and Skyrim. That felt like forever, but oh my god, it was worth it. Skyrim was amazing. It flew off the shelves like crazy. All my friends were playing it, and now it's been 8 years since Skyrim. And we basically have no news, gameplay, or anything regarding Elder Scrolls 6. After New Vegas, it took Bethesda 5 years to come out with Fallout 4, a product that was very polarizing amongst the Fallout fanbase. And then 76 releases. Do you see this decline? It's this complacency, this lack of desire to innovate and create new things that has led to some of our favorite game companies releasing new games far more infrequently. And when they do, it's either something you don't care about or it's just another sequel. Despite nearly every single game company falling prey to complacency, almost none of this applies to Nintendo.
Nintendo,
They've stuck
baby!
to their roots and continue to evolve and release new games that blow us away. Nintendo is still doing things the old-fashioned way and making a shit ton of money, while these other game companies are doing things the easy way. Because if it's broken but makes a shitload of money, why fix it? The abundance of remakes and remasters. It's a fact that gaming has followed certain trends throughout the years. You had arcades where you paid quarters for entertainment. In the NES days, it was all about side-scrolling platformers. The SNES and Sega Genesis were all about graphics. Eventually, we had online gaming, rhythm games, battle royale. So many trends have come and gone. Some have stayed, but occasionally a certain style of game is perceived as no longer profitable or appealing to the mainstream. 3D.
What's more popular right now, chat? Fortnite? Is Fortnite still way more popular than Call of Duty? It's like not even comparable. Like Fortnite, Call of Duty, League of Legends. What's the most popular by far? What's the most popular game in the world? Is it still Fortnite? League is the most popular game in the world. Really? Minecraft.
Yo.
Interesting. Just chatting.
Platformers, for instance, have long fallen out of favor outside of Mario. In this case, instead of developing a brand new game in a genre that's considered dead, companies will choose to remaster or remake their old ones. And would you look at that, they become hella popular. Who would have thought? Spyro Reignited and Insane Trilogy were incredible remasters. And since those were so successful, don't you think people would be even more happy to see a brand new game starring the Purple Dragon or Lovable Bandicoot? But there's been no such announcement, aside from a remaster of Crash Team Racing. You can do pretty incredible things with a remake. Sometimes it turns an outdated game into something completely new, effectively remaking it to be as good as you thought it was back then. Remakes are a great way for new gamers to experience the
I'm gonna beat
magic
that
of
game
the past without the daunting task of playing something that looks like this. Or it can be a method for the developers to add onto their old project and give it some new bells and whistles. A remaster is capable of bringing old games up to speed with several quality of life changes and making it the definitive way to experience an old title. It can be pretty awesome when they port something to a newer console so that you don't have to buy an old expensive copy of it.
Hey,
Like
Nick,
Symphony of the
don't
Night and other
shit on people who
Castlevania
do
games
that.
being ported to Xbox. That shit's cool. The problem arises when companies become more content to resell you their old games than they are to make new ones. It's become a meme. How many different versions of Skyrim Bethesda has churned out? Legendary Edition, Skyrim Special Edition, Remastered, Skyrim on Switch, Skyrim now with mods, Skyrim for VR. In April 2013,
Is that what my mods look like?
Bethesda announced
Are
in
you
their
there?
blog that they were moving on from Skyrim and preparing to work on other projects. Yeah, that's a fucking laugh. Skyrim Pinball Edition.
Wait, what?
At moments, some remasters just bank off your nostalgia and try to parade their old game as something new by slapping an HD at the end of the title. All I'm saying is, there weren't a whole lot of remakes or remasters back on the N64, PlayStation, Xbox, PS2, or GameCube. And that's because they were focused on creating new games. In fact, I can only think of one remaster from those consoles. Conquer Live and Reloaded, which made the game look so freaking sexy. The visuals are still impressive to this day, and they even launched a brand new multiplayer mode that was just awesome. But nowadays, some remasters are just a shameless cash grab, where you can see a side-by-side comparison and notice no difference. But hey, at least they added some extra dirt on the glass for BioShock Remastered. Take my $40. Remember the original port of Dark Souls on Steam? Yeah, it was so fucking lazy and busted they didn't even swap out the button prompts from the Xbox 360 version. I mean, holy shit. And then From Software comes out with Dark Souls Remastered, an actual real port of the game. And they charge people $40 to play Dark Souls with a revitalized PvP community. And even DS Remastered didn't bother to fix several game-breaking glitches, highlighted in this wonderful Inferno Plus video. Companies will also take it a step further. EA turned Dungeon Keeper into a blatant pay-to-win dumpster fire mobile game. Activision not only released Modern Warfare Remastered bundled with Infinite Warfare, but later added loot boxes and paid weapons into a game that didn't have those things in 2007. Some games like Sleeping Dogs...
Why does anyone buy loot boxes? I'm sorry, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. How are you so retarded? I just don't get it. With your money, like, how are you just so dumb? I've never bought a loot box in my life unless it was on stream for retarded sakes, and I never will because it's just so dumb. You're horrible with your money if you buy them. Why do you buy League skins? Because they're hot. Way big of a difference, man. You buy Nintendo boxes. They increase in value, just like League skins.
Last of Us will come out with a remaster 1 or 2 years after it released. You expect me to believe technology advanced so far in that time span that a 1-year-old game is now considered out of date? It's nice to improve a game's stability, frame rate, and resolution, but is all that really worth buying the exact same product again? My point is, a lot of companies aren't willing to take risks anymore. It's disheartening to remember a time when the original Xbox was a haven of original, awesome, exclusive titles, and now the Xbox One doesn't even seem to be competing. This trend of lazy remasters and remakes brings me to my next point.
Hey, no, I'd fuck with Sea of Thieves.
Chasing trends. Early access. Hey guys, please excuse the shitty quality of this section. My video is still in early access, and you can donate to my Patreon to help fund my willingness to sit at a computer and edit. In an effort to capitalize on whatever is currently most popular, plenty of game studios will just
Look, you can say it's nostalgia, Mizzy Wizzy, and all that shit, but you cannot doubt that early access is trash.
shamelessly rip off others or rush out some basic ass shell of a game.
Like, imagine if I did early access for my streams.
Try hard.
For Lawbreakers? Man, didn't do so hot trying to copy Overwatch. So how about Boss Key Productions just copies Fortnite and...
Alright, chat, so here's the deal. If you Twitch Prime right now, so this stream is good, right? Would everyone just agree the stream's good? But it's going to be great. In 12 months from now, it is going to be completely done. And for the rest of my streaming career, it will just be Emily. In 12 months. So if you subscribe now, I will, in 12 months, never come back, and it'll just be Emily. But for now, you have to deal with me. It's early access, but the full thing will be Emily. And if you also subscribe to my OnlyFans, wait, don't do that. What's a Coomer, by the way? Yo, Botox with a 5. You say Emily, Botox comes flying in. Zerd, thanks for the sub. What's a Coomer? I really don't know what that is. Someone who lives to come. That's the dumbest one of them all. Lucari is a Coomer. Okay, I didn't mean Lucari's dumb. I'm sorry. So what is a Coomer? A Coomer literally is a Coomer Matata. Like, you just, like, Coomer my titties. Like, you just love to come all day. Is that it? Type in Coomer on YouTube. No, I watched that Pokemon clip.
Your stream isn't in alpha. We all know your beta cap.
See, chat, I love you guys. I do. Calling Moon normie? Chat, am I a normie now? Yes.
PUBG and launch a shitty battle royale. That should bring in the money. Radical Heights.
Radical Heights!
Oh,
I
wow,
love this game.
Battle royale craze is really taking off.
Dude, I remember Doc was so excited about Radical Heights. He was so pumped.
Let's release a brand new game that's completely fucked. Abandon our old one and alienate our fan base. The Culling 2 proved just how desperate some developers really are. Of course, it would take too much time and effort to fix PUBG before porting it to Xbox, so they just, oh my god, burn it. Burn it all. They somehow made it worse. It's kind of shocking how a company that made all the money in King Tut's castle didn't use any of it to improve the game.
$1 billion in revenue.
And then Titanfall made advanced movement popular. Well, shit, of course Call of Duty and Halo has to adapt that into their games, even if the developers don't understand what makes the movement good, even if it compromises the design style and identity of their franchises. Just copy it. I don't care if it works. If it's unintuitive, janky, and sucks ass, just copy them. Do what they're doing. A lot of these game series used to kind of just go their own way, and I miss that. The term early access has now been hijacked by companies who are too lazy to call their games complete, or admit they're never gonna finish them. It used to mean you had early access to the game, and often it was like an indie title led by a small team that you understood didn't have the big budget some other games have and needed additional funding. But now all it means is the game is going to be a buggy mess and you can't be mad at them because hey, it's just in early access. Even if they make billions of dollars, Bluehole and Epic will continue to call Fortnite and PUBG early access titles. Then you got all those shitty ass zombie survival games. My buddy brought over 7 Days to Die one time, and after playing it for 5 minutes, I was like, dude, you got fucking scammed. You buy this shit from Jose in the back alley behind a strip club? Like, what the fuck is this? Once esports really started to take off, developers started tailoring their games to be competitive. Everyone wanted their product to break into esports territory, and that can really mess with the project's vision. When all you're worried about is chasing the most popular trends and the cash flow, you get all these half-assed games releasing, and suddenly the desire to create something new is replaced with the desire to copy others. Games as a service, updates, online only, broken launches, etc. The ability to patch a game after its release was one of the biggest revolutions in game development, allowing teams to continue their work before going gold. Bug fixes, balance updates, and more were now possible. Even when a game comes out and you buy it on launch day, it has an update, because the developers are still working on it after they started shipping copies. Nowadays, you can fix, tweak, and save your ass as a developer with this luxury of post-launch support. Overwatch is a prime example of when it's utilized well. It needed several updates to become what it is today. Without them, most people would have gotten bored of the game. The idea of constantly adding new content and features to engage players and keep them coming back is good for both the gamers.
You guys like Overwatch? No. I never got into it. I just never. It fits me perfectly. Colorful, annoying, random ADHD bullshit. But I never got into it. But I really fuck with Overwatch 2. That game's gonna be good.
And the companies. However, it's when the games as a service philosophy starts enveloping every stage of design, when developers rely too much on fixing the game and adding to it after launch, that we see gaming decline. Halo 5 Guardians straight out the gate had like a 7-month plan of content. Why didn't you work that into the 3 years of development you had?
True!
You compare Spec Ops and Modern Warfare 2 and 3, and there's no mistake that everybody prefers those versions to the 2019 version, where it now takes Infinity Ward 1 month to get 2 missions out. 10 years ago, they launched a game with 23 of them. The difference is crystal clear in how games are developed. You look at something like
But why do you think that they're doing that, chat? Do you think it's just money? My thing is this. I think that gaming companies are not releasing things as fast because they just don't have original ideas anymore. Like, I feel like that is a big problem. These games back then were so linear and easy. Like, there wasn't crazy amounts of things. Now the bar is so high, and it's really hard for them to think of new things to come out with that are original. You're all question marking me. I hate when you do that because that means I'm wrong.
KOTOR 2, Halo 2, and Smash Bros. Melee.
Melee, baby!
These games all had hellish development cycles that devoured the lives of the people working on them. These heroes sacrificed time with their families just to complete the game when it was supposed to be done, so that we, the consumers, got the best product possible. Despite the many bugs, glitches, and general lack of polish in these 3 highly anticipated sequels, they turned out phenomenal, because neither Obsidian, Bungie, or Nintendo could depend on simply fixing the game after the fact. Not having that luxury put the pressure on. Now with the luxury of post-launch support...
Maybe I'm wrong. But those little glitches, I'm gonna say it, those little glitches in the game made it fun. When you figured out a glitch and it was not patchable, you felt cool being the guy that knew the glitch. That was in school, chat. You were the cool kid that knew the glitches and how to do it, alright? It just was. You were the cool kid. Nowadays, you're the cool kid for about 30 minutes until you refresh and realize that it's been patched. It's just not the same, alright? I'm sorry.
Compare the content from Halo 2 to the latest game, Guardians. At launch, Halo 5 had 4 game modes, the lowest in the series, and it took a whole year of updates to make Halo 5 a somewhat complete package. What Halo 2 accomplished, In its 3 years of development, back in 2004, Halo 5 needed an extra year after it was already out in 2015. But this isn't just exclusive to Halo, it happens to every game series, where the gears stop turning and something as simple as launching a game in a playable state becomes an urban legend, a myth. Bad Company 2 launches perfectly and works fine. Then DICE drops Battlefield 3, 4, and Battlefront 2,
What the fuck?
which all had nightmarish issues and simply didn't work. It gets so ridiculous to the point where you wonder if the games they put out are actually illegal because the product doesn't work as advertised. Then you got something like COD World War II where even the menus didn't work. You look at how Mass Effect 1 came out back in 2007, pretty damn good. Mass Effect Andromeda 10 years later somehow looked worse and was a glitch-ridden disaster. Diablo 1 and 2, absolute masterpieces. Diablo 3 is coming out. People have been waiting over a decade to experience this game. It releases an Error 37. You can't play the game until Blizzard figures their shit out. Then you had Dead Island, where the developers completely fucked up and released the wrong version of the game. How does that happen? SimCity was made to be always online, except you couldn't connect to EA's shitty-ass servers. Batman Arkham Knight was knowingly pushed out onto PC despite the publishers knowing it was a terrible port with horrific frame rate issues. I'm not saying every game from the glory days launched in a perfect state, but these unplayable disasters happen far less frequently.
True.
And at the time, I was way more forgiving of them. And then we arrive at the Master Chief Collection, which was a testament to just how broken you could release a game and somehow not be investigated by the Better Business Bureau. This atrocity was so unplayable, I'm surprised there was no class action lawsuit filed. The new cutscenes by Blur were jaw-dropping, but it's hardly any consolidation when nothing worked. Menus were fucked, game glitches everywhere, impossible to find games, ranking system constantly resetting. 343 needed like 3 or 4 years to make MCC a consistently playable game. 3 to 4 years after I bought the game, I was finally able to play it the way they promised I could.
So Halo 2 Anniversary will contain the original Halo 2 multiplayer.
Yeah!
Exactly as it shipped 10 years ago.
Though this is a subjective point, take a look at these MMORPGs. World of Warcraft changed the gaming landscape as we knew it and really gave rise to the games as a service philosophy with monthly subscriptions, new expansions. It was a nice source of cash flow, and for players that enjoyed the game, it was the greatest thing ever.
Yep.
WoW has been consistently supported for like 15 years,
Yes,
and that's
sir,
great.
poggers.
But here's an important point hardly ever mentioned. Warcraft as a series has been an MMORPG longer than it has been a real-time strategy. Despite 3 games with multiple expansions, the reason Warcraft 4 does not exist is because WoW does. Similarly, the reason why Knights of the Old Republic 3 does not exist is because the Old Republic does. Elder Scrolls 6 does not exist yet because they've been working on Elder Scrolls Online. For better or worse, these incredible series of games have converted to the games as a service philosophy. They've turned their backs on their roots. EA is infamous for shutting down several game studios, including Visceral, who were working on a single-player Star Wars game. But because single-player games can't really be made into a service, EA saw this venture as not as profitable and shut it down. It's actually surprising when something like Jedi Fallen Order comes out with no caveats and is a genuinely great game. But in the 6 or so years EA has had the rights to Star Wars...
Why do you guys think this guy's retarded? No proof?
Wars, this is the first single-player game they've put out. Flashback to the early 2000s, oh baby, Jedi Academy, Republic Commando, KOTOR 1 and 2, Episode 3 game, Lego Star Wars, Bounty Hunter, Obi-Wan, Force Unleashed,
They're corporate
Battlefront
shills.
1 and 2, Empire at War. Star Wars games were off the fucking hook, but EA is just complacent now. We live in a time where the updates a game goes through are more impactful than the actual release. And it's this ship it now, fix it later mentality.
But do you guys not agree that there is a ship it now, fix it later mentality in the gaming industry? You can't deny that that's a thing. You can't tell me that that's not a thing compared to what it used to be, all right? It's literally ship it and send it to XQC and he'll play it on stream.
The issue with new ideas in gaming is getting funding because it doesn't have proof of concept behind it, so it's harder for a large company to justify properly funding the unique concept.
Just make your own damn game. You know what? Why don't I make my own game? I'll call it, how about Neverland? Neverland. You know what? Why don't we play Monopoly or play Hollow Knight?
Who cares? Just get money so you can buy all the games. Pepe laugh.
Just get money so you can buy all the games. Yeah, but the games are not even complete. Like, I don't want to wait. Dude, I was so excited for Ark. You have no idea. I was so excited for Ark. When Ark, I finally got the fucking game. It was shit. It was such a shit game. I loved Ark. I did. Or Atlas. Or any of the other fucking video games that I've played besides Jump King. Like, they're all just... And Pogo. They're all just shit. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, dude. Let's keep watching.
That is a lot.
I do think this guy is very just jaded. I think this guy is wrong. Or maybe... I just think he just doesn't have facts. Like, I haven't seen a single Wikipedia article. I don't know what this guy's telling the truth or not. But I know I'm right, so fuck you.
Allowing companies to churn out so many titles that suck straight ass when they come out. A video game should never be a gamble, where the consumer doesn't know if it's gonna function or not. Corporatization, anti-consumer. Probably the worst thing about the decline of gaming is the corporatization of it. The game industry is becoming more and more controlled by some board of directors who don't
Okay, you cannot say this is not true, chat. This is true.
This hobby as you or I do. They aren't thinking, how can we make the best game possible? How can we make our fans happy? They're thinking, how can we make the most money with the least amount of...
This guy looks... Oh, fuck! This guy looks robotic. He scares me. He scares the fuck out of me.
Make the most money with the least amount of effort. There are investors to please, deadlines to meet. Game development used to be just a bunch of nerds pooling their talents and creativity to make something incredible, something they would want to play. Corporatization has been sucking the life and soul out of gaming, and this is illustrated by the complete lack of originality in the cover art of games.
You can also put this, am I going to sound crazy for saying this? I know I'm pausing a lot. You can also put this towards Twitch and YouTube. I feel like you could put this to a lot of things. And movies. Yeah. Does everything suck nowadays? Is everything just an HD remake of the old versions? Movies are like that a lot nowadays. Games are like that a lot nowadays, where they're not complete. Movies are unoriginal dog shit. Twitch streams are just absolute trash unless I'm live. And then you got... Brian apparently doesn't think so. And then, but that's such a bleak, shitty way to look at life. Music, I don't listen to, I'm a boomer.
Check out this video by Nakey Jakey, it's really good, but it showcases a greater point.
For the
lack of soul. It'd be foolish to condemn all pre-order bonuses, microtransactions, DLC, etc., because only a Sith deals in absolutes. But you're the consumer. What do you want? Do you want cool, meaningful, cosmetic unlockables that showcase your accomplishments? Okay, what's the ideal way for the player to unlock them? Ask yourself this question first. Is this good for the player? Is it good for the player to unlock gameplay-altering abilities or cosmetic items in monetized randomized loot boxes? Is that a form of progression and unlocks that is beneficial to the player? Of course not. So why do companies include it? Because the well-being of the consumer and the quality of the experience is secondary to what's most profitable. Back during the 360, PS3, and Wii generation, players noticed there was a lot more downloadable content than the previous generation. In fact, the GameCube didn't even connect to the internet. But now it seems like loot boxes are far more numerous. That's because companies realized DLC was only a one-time purchase. But what if there was a way to turn players into payers? Consistently doing that would yield high results. Then you got all those season passes where companies want you to put up $50 based on a promise.
Do games really still do that, chat, where it's $50 a month for a Game Pass?
As video games become more and more expensive to make, the price of a new release has stayed the same for decades. And while any business, big or small, needs to make a profit, the lengths some companies go to monetize their games is absurd. Sometimes being so greedy to the point where they will compromise the design of their game. 343 and Creative Assembly went so far in this direction, crafting a mode specifically to integrate loot boxes into Halo Wars 2 and create a pay-to-win model. Madden and FIFA Ultimate Teams. Wow, those are so cool, ruined by pay-to-win loot boxes. Battlefield 1 and 4 offering literal shortcuts through the progression system. Think about that for a second. The designers created the system of XP, how it is earned, how much it takes to unlock things, and then decided to monetize a way for players to skip it entirely. Bungie literally cutting and reselling parts of Destiny 1 and 2 as DLC, making shaders consumable so players will have to buy them again.
Really?
It was not a decision made for the benefit of the player. Forza 5 offering just as many payable cars as ones you earn in-game. The list of DLC for The Sims alone is fucking staggering. Middle-earth Shadow of War, a single-player game, chose the loot box method of delivering rewards to players. Dead Space 3.
Loot boxes are actually good because it allows gambling addiction andies to subsidize games to be free for normal non-degenerates like me. Smile.
Interrupting the game to ask you to buy more parts. Train Simulator 2015 offering over
Wait, Train Simulator. So, I thought it was gonna be another game.
$4,000 of DLC. Purchasable weapons in Black Ops 4 giving people an advantage. Microsoft charging you to remove ads on Solitaire.
What?
Fucking microtransactions in Solitaire. Then for some games, it can get so bad that functional microtransactions become more important than a functional game. I couldn't get into matches in COD World War II when it came out, but you bet your ass I could buy loot boxes. And then Fallout 76. Wow. Easily one of the most embarrassing, blatant, empty cash grabs the industry has ever seen. Do you, as a player, want to have sections of the video game you bought sealed into randomized crates that are paid for with real money? Hell no. There's always a better alternative. Titanfall 2 is the shining example. It might not make the most money, but there's no bullshit involved. What you see is what you get, and the game isn't any worse or better off because of it. Companies have tried seemingly every slimy, underhanded tactic to get you to pay just a bit more. Metal Gear Survive had the audacity to charge people $10 for an extra save slot. In Modern Warfare 2, you had to grind for those extra custom class slots. But in recent games, you could just buy them. Like, is that where we're at now? Valve and Bluehole opened up avenues to skin betting, selling and trading with other players, which leads to gambling websites and the notorious shitlords like—
Did this guy ever get, like, fucked for anything, chat, or did he just get away with murder? No. He got away with—
Team Martin and Pro Syndicate trying to make
XG's gonna beat Jump King?
websites and the notorious
I'll be back in
shitlords
6
like
hours
Team
when he's at
Martin
the
and
bog.
Pro Syndicate trying to make money off this infamous CSGO lotto scandal. The increasingly aggressive monetization of video games had gotten so out of hand that it attracted the attention of several world governments. I mean, if you look at those leaked patents by Activision, it tells you everything. The intent is right there. Adhering to these patents, they want to make you as addicted as possible to spending money. They want to control you. That's why Bungie decided to throttle how much XP you got. I bet they wouldn't have done that if they weren't trying to sell me bright engrams. The decline of gaming has manifested in so many different ways, and it hurts to talk about. The game industry I knew and loved has just gotten complacent with lazy titles, trend-chasing garbage, half-assed remasters, corporatization, over-monetization, and a lack of drive to create something new. Games as a service and early access become crutches for developers to lean on.
True.
And when fans get upset at how dysfunctional and empty their latest release is, or wonder why game-breaking issues continue to exist, they use early access, or we're working on it, as their shield. Don't get me wrong, the good stuff is still out there, but you have to find it amongst all the noise. But with all this shit that's changed for the worse in gaming, it's starting to feel like a soulless assembly line production, and the way companies treat their consumers is making me lose faith in this industry. And that is how gaming has declined.
I don't know, chat. Look, this guy obviously is a fucking boomer. Why is Call of Duty Modern Warfare so awesome? Why was Call of Duty Ghosts so hated? Like, he's obviously a boomer. But I do think he is right on a lot of things, chat. Like, when you can't deny, like I said, the alpha bullshit. Like, it's trash, and it has destroyed the gaming industry. You can't deny it. It has destroyed it. The fact that they just use that as a crutch, claiming like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we'll change the game in 6 months from now, but for now, just buy the fucking game in the alpha. You know, you get 6% off. It has fucked up the game in industry, you know? And then the chat war. Who's right, who's wrong? Me or you? Like, everyone just kicked the fuck out of Streamlabs. The thing is, I don't know. I personally know back then how I felt about gaming. I personally think that gaming has declined drastically. Between loot boxes, companies just getting super greedy, making HD remakes. These are my big things. Ready? These are them. HD remakes, right? I'm going to say, like, that is one of the biggest. Then DLC, everything is DLC, not done release, right? HD remakes, DLCs, not done on release, like, what's something else, chat? Loot boxes, loot crates are fucking... Microtransactions are ass, chat. Season passes, bullshit like that. It's horrible. But here's the thing. This was bound to happen as technology got better. That's the thing. It's technology's fault. Because the thing is, as cloud services and all these things happen, obviously, this shit was going to go on. So, you know... It was going to happen. Gambling is something that people love. So, I feel like I'm doing a college essay.
Mario Super Slugger's best Nintendo game ever. Change my mind.
Lazy sequels. It's just trash by the industry, man.
This is so fucking dumb. There are more good games available on Steam now than ever before. Just don't buy trash AAA games.
Oh, you're so wrong, buddy. You're so wrong. You're so wrong. Pushing esports? Esports is also a thing. It's just money. All this results to is what? Money. Money has grown in the industry. They see the market. Steam... Let me talk. Everyone shut up. This is so fucking dumb. There are more good games available on Steam now than ever before. That's not true. They're all fucking shit. There's the reason why Chance had shit show Saturdays, because he played all the new fucking games. They're trash.
HD remakes, DLC, not done releases, season passes, 6 console less.
Now that gaming is bigger, it has turned into every other fucking business in the world. Yes, that is exactly it. Gaming is, people see the money and they see how retarded people actually are, just like every other industry, so they go for it.
The FF7 remake is a great example. They are taking the game and breaking into 3 separate releases instead of one title.
It's the same thing with streaming. You know, what happens with streamers when they first start out? They're really funny, they're really good, they're great at everything, and then what? They get greedy, they see the money, and they see a brand new bounty has came out. Pogs in chat for the new bounty that is released. It is disgusting. I don't really have a new bounty.
I have been playing video games since GameCube came out. And I can admit that today I don't look forward to seeing new game releases. They are all bland or all a money grab.
Yes, there's just no soul in the gaming industry. And there's also no hair on my head. I don't think all games suck. I don't. There's companies like the ones that just made, for example, Jump King. They made a fantastic game that sticks with it's a good game that everyone loves, and they have good DLCs, and it's not a cash grab, right? The DLC didn't even cost money. But it's a lot of the gaming industry sucks.
People need to stop buying these incomplete games and stop buying loot boxes. Hashtag don't pre-order.
Dude, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make that horse not retarded. It's just like, it doesn't matter. Unless you're going to put Adderall in the horse's water, it's just not going to fix anything.